Both Sides of the Conversation family. We welcome you to this virtual space crafted especially for you. My name is Jada Curry, and I'm Both Sides of the Conversation's Marketing Director and Graphics Design Specialist. I want to take some time to ground us all as a community into this space we are about to open up in, so let's go through our community standards. Both Sides of the Conversation is providing a safe and honest space for open conversation, so we ask that you all be respectful of that. We also ask that you be respectful of each panelist, host, and participant. We do encourage healthy debates and conversations. Don't personalize anything with anyone. This includes name-calling, bullying, trolling, or shaming. This will not be allowed or tolerated. Your perspective is yours. It is not a prescription. You do not have to agree, but show respect. These community standards apply to all of our live shows and any virtual spaces that we hold on social media, including YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. We want to make sure that we are caring for each other as a community. This is our priority in all of our endeavors as Both Sides of the Conversation. With that being said, I hope you enjoyed today's show and continue to stay in touch with us via YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or all of them. All right, thank you for listening and see you soon.
Welcome everybody to Both Sides of the Conversation. I'm John Henry, Executive Director. Today is Thursday, so you know what that means. We're going to have another educational Thursday presentation. Today we have two phenomenal guests from Farmers Insurance. They're going to be talking about insurance knowledge and some of the information that community needs to know about insurance. So looking forward to tonight's information and getting tonight's guest up. But before we get started, I want to go over a couple of things because there's a lot of things that's been happening. I know on Tuesday, we canceled the show on Tuesday. Also, this coming Tuesday, we'll be canceling this show as we are dealing with violence crisis in our community. And you all know here at Both Sides of the Conversation, we are about community, our young folks. And right now, our community have been dealing with gun violence and crisis that just been impacted on a number of different levels. So we'll be there supporting community. But our next live show will be next Thursday. And we'll be having an educational presentation with Erica Scott talking about Black culture. And then that Sunday, we'll be having a conversation regarding housing, some of the housing issues and concerns with some of the community folks. So we got some guests, some homeowners that's in the Bayview in San Francisco that's going to be talking about some of the challenges, some of the resources, and some of the things that have impacted them and some of the things that we need to change. So that'll be a great conversation. Just want to say, it's been a challenging week, community, not just here in San Francisco, but across the Bay Area. And across the state of California, across the world in that matter, there has been an increase of gun violence. As you all know, there was a mass shooting that took place. Later details have came out. Some of this stuff is gang related in Sacramento, California. We've had a number of shootings in our community here in San Francisco, a number of young folks who have been killed. So I just want to say one to all of the families who've been impacted by this gun violence and loss. We just want to give condolences to those families. There is touchy times right now as our communities are walking on eggshells. I was at a community meeting. I was speaking and gunfire rang out at that meeting. And again, talking to our community folks as we always do, trying to connect with our community folks. It is very, very painful and disheartening to have our elders of the community and our young folks afraid to come outside and enjoy the community. And, those type of things touch me. It's been a tough week. There's been a lot of things taking place, and I just think, I just wanted to take this time before we get started to just really, as community, we have to reevaluate our stance when we talk about violence, how we commune as community, how we deal with community. I work with the young folks and I'm getting a lot of feedback from our young people and they don't trust a lot of the folks in our community leaders, our community organizations, and some of these folks who do violence prevention work and some of the other work in our community. And we have to do something about it. I've been on a number of calls, and one of the things that disturbs me is when we as adults, we can't hash out and deal with our issues and our differences as organizations, and we expect to come into the community and ask our young folks to put their guns down and let go their disputes. We have to do better. We have to lead by example. There's a lot of work. No one's perfect. Things happen. But to really change the paradigm of how we lead in our community, especially from organizational standpoints, how we engage, how we partner, how we sponsor each other, and how we deal with each other. We definitely all have to take a look in the mirror of how we go about doing business. That goes for myself here as executive director, a leader of this organization, how we work in the community, how we do the things that we do. We just have to be mindful. Our young folks are watching us. We're trying to build trust. We know in the Black and brown community, the lack of trust, the lack of respect and understanding a lot of times keep us disconnected. There's a lot of issues going on right now. I know there's a lot of redistricting meetings going on. There's a lot of passion behind it, a lot of folks with their opinion. A lot of these conversations are starting to get really heated as we come to the end. And I just want to say, from the start, these systems, these things that were put in place to divide us have been there. Okay. And I'm not going to get on one side or other about redistricting, but I will say this. When it comes to planning and developing cities and counties and communities, the people who make these decisions have already made these decisions 30, 40, 50 years ago. And, they're just going through the process to fulfill whatever their legal obligation is to let the community know. But what I want our community to know is we are more powerful in solidarity. No matter what lines these districts cross, no matter who gets pushed in and out of districts, it is our responsibility as Black and brown communities, one, to stick together and find ways that we can unify and economically empower our community. The reason why these conversations and redistricting impacts our community is because the Black and brown community has the less of economical power in our community, the less ownership in our community. So the real argument and the real fight is, how do we build wealth? How do we leave generational wealth? How do we bring ownership and economical power to our community? Those are the real conversations that I want us to stay strategically in solidarity about. How do we bring income ownership to our community? Okay. Because again, the systems behind the scenes have already been designed. There is a small percent of Black and brown population in San Francisco, and we need to be using this energy that we have about redistricting more on about how do we get funding and economical power in our community for ownership so that we are not pushed out. I understand that there's political things that take place with redistricting and move places, but I'm about, let's put the money in our community. Let's build up the community, because a lot of these political games that they're playing with our lives is not even worth the time or energy. So I really want to continue to improve our financial literacy and our economical power. And tonight, these folks are going to be talking about some insurance that is very important, so that we can pass down generational wealth to our community. Again, these young folks who were murdered, and a lot of these folks who were murdered this weekend, these families didn't have no life insurance. I see GoFundMe's up everywhere. I see folks standing on the corner, washing cars, trying to sell chicken dinners and things of that nature to pay for burial. And that is not the responsible thing that we need to be doing. We need to be planning for our futures, for our young folks. And these type of conversations tonight and these type of educational presentations is why we're bringing this to our community, so that you can get the education, you can get the awareness, and you can have a direct contact with some folks who look like you, think like you, and can uplift you and empower your household and your community. So again, let's work together. There's a lot of work to do. We need to really get a handle on this violence in our community and some of the things that's impacting our community, so that we can really have unity in our community. With that being said, I'm going to move on to some of the community world announcements, and then I'm going to bring up our presenters for tonight. There was some historic news that's going to be coming up as well. So just excited about some of the things that is going on. But also in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, history was made today. The first black mayor, according to the Journal, the young man beat out his Republican challenger. This young man has 3 children. In his victory speech, I think it was one. This is a 176-year history that they elected the first black mayor, and that's very powerful. A young millennial, 35 years old, Councilman Johnson. He's been a president on the Milwaukee board. So powerful things happen, and I know in our communities we get excited and we say sometimes we're not moving forward, but even in this pain, even in this distraction and this disruption that's going on and this negative energy that's in our air, there are still black and brown folks in our communities that are moving forward. So salute to that brother for becoming the first black mayor in Milwaukee. And I hope the folks in Milwaukee get behind them and support them and make sure that they continue to move our communities forward. Also, terrible news in Minneapolis. One of the cops today, they announced, will not face charges. If you all haven't heard the story, in Minneapolis, the same state that George Floyd was killed, a 21-year-old armed black man was killed during another no-knock warrant, one of those no-knock warrants that also killed Breonna Taylor. I know people here in the community sometimes don't understand. In different states, there's different gun laws, or in different states, folks can't have firearms. I know in California it's a little different, but this young man was dealing with a no-knock situation where the police came into his house without a warrant, and he was protecting his home with his firearm, and those officers end up killing that young man because he had a firearm. And there's a lot of things still happening behind on this, but right now the officers that's been involved will not be charged, and there's different folks, lawyers looking into this. We'll keep you up on it. But again, these type of no-knock warrants are still impacting the black and brown communities. And again, this is why our civic duty as community folks to get involved, to make sure our elected official, these folks who make these laws and these bills, we have the right people in place in the best interest of our community. Also, great news today is being passed. As you all know, it's been going across all our news airways, social media. The Senate confirmed today Kenita Brown Jackson is going to be the first black woman to sit on the Supreme Court. So just want to give her a lot of love and support. She's at the highest level of the court. So we just hope that this sister continues to do the work and stay in line with her values and her core principles. As we help try to dismantle some of the things that has impacted our black and brown community and some of the laws that impact our community. So just want to give her congratulations. It was a pretty powerful Senate hearing as she was going through it, but they was able to get a 53 to 47 votes. So the Democratic Party won on that end. But again, there is still work that needs to be done in our community. It doesn't just stop with her. We got a lot of work to do in our lower courts, as well as in our county and community courts. So we just got to keep fighting, community. We can't give up. I know there's a lot of things happening. We get discouraged, and we don't want to fight, and we don't want to invest in our young folks. But again, here's 2 examples, a young black mayor, and now the first black woman to sit on the Supreme Court. Again, if we invest into our young people, okay, and the elders of our community, pass on that generational information and pass the torch to our young folks, there is possibilities. I believe in it. We just have to stand and work together, united in solidarity as one. Some of the community events that's coming up, the Bayview Martin Luther King Pool, they're having a number of events. They wanted us to make sure community know that Martin Luther King Pool is open for community. They are located at 5701 3rd Street. Starting this week, all the way through the summer, they're going to have a different event. So go to their website, BayviewSafeSwimSplash.org, and we'll get that information out to community. Again, community, a lot of remodeling, a lot of production and planning and development is going on in our black community. When they remodel and recreate these black spaces, we need to go out and utilize these spaces. Okay, we can't just complain when they remodel our parks and renovate stuff and we don't utilize them. And then when we want to utilize them, we mad because other ethnic groups have come in and take over our parks. So what I want to encourage community is take your babies out there. Okay, there's been a couple of drownings in our community. There's some community folks we know who've been impacted by the loss of their loved ones, not knowing how to swim. The Martin Luther King swimming pool is open. There's a number of swimming pools open in our community. Let's go out and utilize some of these free programs. Let's teach our young folks how to swim so that they can be comfortable in water, and let's utilize these spaces. So I encourage our community, let's go to our parks, let's go to our historic spaces, let's start utilizing and occupying these spaces so that these folks don't come in and take over our spaces. And that's what I'm going to leave that there with there. Also, coming up this Saturday, there's an Easter egg hunt. As you all know, we're approaching Easter egg hunt. This is a free event that's going on with the St. Mary's Rec Center. It's going to be happening from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m., rain or shine, 95 Justin Drive in San Francisco. All ages are welcome, 12 and under. Please come out and bring your kids if that's the festivities that you are about. But again, they are having that another event for community. Also, this Saturday, I'll be there. The WAGA 17 event is happening. The War Against Gun Activities, 17th year anniversary. My brother Toriano is going to be leading that as his son was killed through gun violence 17 years ago. I'll be out there with a number of community folks. Again, as you all know, we've had a violent gun weekend, and we need these type of rallies to stop gun violence in our community. So I hope you all will be able to come out and join this Saturday from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. There's going to be live entertainment, food, jumpers, face painting, and more. All ages are welcome to come out. So if you want to see me, I know a lot of people have been asking where you're going to be at the next event. I'll be out there this Saturday to support that event because I want to make sure that my presence is also felt. We have to put an end to this gun violence. We're going to have to connect with our young people before we correct our young people. And it's events like this that gives us an opportunity to connect with our young folks. And I hope all of the males that are coming to this event to participate don't just stand around and congregate. I'm encouraging the elders, the older folks of the community. When we get these young folks who are coming for the food, the face painting, the jumpers, the music, that some of our elder males of the community take time to talk to some of these young brothers that's going to be here at the march trying to enjoy the festivities. Every opportunity we get as community leaders, community organizations, elected officials, when we are around young Black and brown males, women as well, we need to talk to our young folks and not just sit there and look at them and disconnect because we don't understand their music and the things that they do. So I'm encouraging all the brothers that come out. I'm going to be doing it. Any young man that I see between the ages of 10 and up, I'm going to be hugging them, talking to them. What can I do to help you? What can I do to support you? And giving them love, because I think it's time for our community to put some peace and love back in the community. And we need our young men to know it's okay to hug another man, tell them you love them and uplift them and support them. And I'll be doing that as well for our young folks in the community. But again, all family ages are invited to this event. It will be a peaceful event. Because we'll be there, and anybody coming with any problems, we're going to take care of it. But it should be a great event. Also coming up on April 23rd, you all get ready. There's a career resource fair happening from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. It's going to be at the Civic Plaza at 355 McAllister Street. I know a lot of folks in community are looking for jobs, looking for opportunities, to curb some of this violence in our community. We're going to have to empower our community with jobs and resources so that we can have a sustainable community. There's a challenge when we're dealing with this violence, and I understand some of our young folks can't leave out of their community, and we're going to continue to have conversations how to navigate them. But for our other folks that are looking for employment opportunities, it's going to be an amazing career fair, a lot of opportunities, and I'm doing some assessment. I just want y'all to know, both sides of the conversation, we are doing a community assessments on these jobs fairs. There's a number of community organizations that are doing them. I'm listening to my community. I heard a lot of folks say these folks are coming in talking about jobs, but there's a very small percentage of Black folks who actually get those jobs. And then there's also a small percentage of folks that actually stay on these jobs. We don't want to play games with our people. One thing y'all know about me, I'm not going to let anyone poverty pimp our community. So if they're coming in our community to say they got jobs for the Black community, to show that they hiring black folks, but within this first 90, 60 days, they are also laying off our black folks. We got to have a conversation because I think there's an investment that needs to go in when we're talking about onboarding and developing folks on our community. Too many times I see it. Organizations are, yeah, we got all these people, these resources, all these companies coming out to hire folks. And then the folks get the job and they lay right back off and they made their quarter with their numbers. And y'all know me, that's been around. That's why I hate data. You can lie with the numbers and say all these people got jobs. But again, how many stayed and how sustainable is it for the community? So I'm going to keep advocating. Y'all know I'm big on that. So I'm going to continue to do that. So that is coming up. Hope you all get out to it, and we'll get that information as we get closer to the time. Blast it out on all of our social media handles for our both sides of the conversation events. Again, you all know we are continue build capacity here. If you would like to support us, there's a many ways you can support us. One of the ways is through our Amazon Smile Donate. That is a way you can help us. You could choose both sides of the conversation as one of your charitable organizations. Every time you purchase something, no extra charge to you. But every time you purchase something, if you choose both sides of the conversation, 0.5% of your the purchase price that you have, they will donate and match and support our organization. So all the folks who already signed up, we want to say thank you. If you like to sort of support us on the back end, you can always go to our website and support any one of our campaigns that we have to continue to build capacity for folks. So like I said earlier, this Sunday, there will not be a Sunday conversation as we will be in the community doing community work on curbing some of this violence. Next Tuesday, we are going to cancel that show because we're going to be in community doing some of this violence prevention work, working with some of our community folks. Next Thursday, we will have a show. Erica Scott will be coming on to talk about Black culture. And then next Sunday, we will have a Sunday conversation with our community folks on housing. With that being said, enough of me. If y'all heard enough of me, it's time to move on to what you all came to see tonight. We're going to bring up tonight's presenters on this Educational Thursday. They're going to be talking about the different insurances and broaden our community knowledge and understanding of community insurance. So with that being said, Farmers is in the building. We're going to bring up Brother Jaime, and he's going to bring up his folks with him. Welcome, Brother Jaime, to both sides of the conversation. Happy to have you here. Glad you bringing some love, some humility, and some understanding and awareness to our community. And just happy to have y'all here, man. Go ahead and welcome yourself to the community and let them know who you are and what you're doing. You got to unmute yourself, brother. Unmute yourself, brother. Unmute yourself.
Community, comunidad, mi gente. John, man, I am so pumped, man. I had never seen that intro, and you got me all pumped up with the sister on the Supreme Court and the first African American. Oh man, I am excited because none of you, well, some of you hopefully out there have heard of me. I've had La Victoria Bakery for 40 years before I went back into the financial services sector. And I was all about community, and it was pulling teeth to get people to join me, to get on that bus. Come on, people, let's do this together. We can do it. But people are tight. People are tight about, about a lot of things. They're tight about their mentals, they're tight about their cash, they're tight about a lot of things. They don't want to share. And it's hard to get people on that bus. But when you get old enough and you realize that the more you give, the more you get, and the more you give, the better you feel. Man, it's not a hard sell at all. It's not a hard sell at all. So before I introduce my guest, I just want to let everyone know that we're here for you. We're here to give you the truth, the God honest truth. Any way we can help, you can give us a call. We can just lay it out for you, and I'll tell you why. We're going to go briefly through a little auto and a little home and renters, but that's not the purpose of our visit today. The purpose of our visit today is we want to make sure that you start to participate in the generational wealth of what it is to be in the United States and to be able to take your money and be able to use it, spend it, invest in yourselves. And when you pass, make sure that your family gets a big piece of the pie. And it all starts with you today, right? So with that said, I want to introduce my new brother from another mother, John Michael. He just came on as a new farmer's agent. Came over from I never add someone else's company, but if they want to mention it, feel free. I have no disparaging remarks. about anyone else's company. I don't have anything. But we can see, I always see through the glass ceiling. I try to break it, and I always see through all the crap they're feeding us. So this is John Michael, just brand new agent, but many years of experience. John, go for it.
Hey, how's it going, everybody? Community. My name is John Michael. I'm just happy to be here, ready to talk to you guys about, everything: home, auto, renters. Answer any questions that we may have. Just like Jaime said, I'm also very just big on community and our people in general, and just making sure that we take care of each other and always give back. So this is dope for me. I'm not gonna lie.
Woo woo.
All right. Well,
So,
with that
and I'm
being
gonna-
said, go ahead and let me know when you're ready to do your presentation. Whatever you want to do, it's on your
I'm gonna make sure that, since it's my first time here, John, host, whenever you want to chime in and say, hey, this isn't, feel free to, put my feet to the fire and ask the question that you think that your audience might want to have, want to know something about. You read the comments, so put us on blast. Go for it.
They know I will do it at the end, but I'll wait to the end of the presentation. One thing about me is I like to hear all the information, and I'll be sitting here taking notes. But yeah, I know that you are serious about community. We had early conversation before the show. So community, you are about to hear some real community folks that are passionate about what they're doing, moving generational wealth and making sure that our community is protected. As you heard them say, rentals insurance, auto insurance, home insurance, really going to touch on some of that, and then really focus in on life insurance. What I know, and you all know, is a very big passion of mine, making sure that our folks are not on internet asking for GoFundMe to bury our family members, and making sure that we have the right protection. So I'm excited about tonight's education presentation. I'm going to sit back and listen, and I'm turning over to you all. When you're ready to pull up your slides and go through, I'll sit back and just take notes.
Well, when it comes to auto, home, and renters, it'll be self-explanatory. I don't need to show any charts. I will say, I'll tell you this much: when it comes to an agent, is different than an agency. When you go to an agent and you get the good vibe, you know exactly when they're handing you a pile of hot garbage. You know it. You can feel it. It's too good to be true. I'll tell you how to pick a good agent. If an agent sits down with you and explains everything to detail, to the satisfaction, where you say, and you walk out of their office or finish that phone call or finish that Zoom, whatever it might be, and you say, holy crap, that is the most information anyone has ever given me about insurance. You started at the right place, because that's how the way you should feel. When you don't pay for the, $29.99 Steph Curry crossover dribble, YouTube Zoom without walking out and going, holy, I learned so much from that. Well, that's the way you should also feel about insurance. So that being said, I'll just start with my basic premise on auto and home insurance. First of all, yes, you need it. And there's different reasons why you need it. But the biggest reason is you're protecting yourself for different things. This is a legal document. You are not buying t-shirts on Amazon. So for you to go to the Lizard and then go to, John Wayne and then go to us and say, well, it's, they'll deliver those t-shirts for $9.99 plus service charge, but this guy will deliver those t-shirts for $8.99, but I got to pay a delivery fee. Stop it. If they're in the ballpark and you have better coverage, just go with that, because we are a legal document, and you'll be happy at the end of the day if you have a good agent and a good insurance company who answers the phone. You don't go through the phone tree, and an agent who advocates for you. And that's what I'm advocating for myself and for John. We will answer the phone. We will answer your phone call, and we'll give you all the information. And then when something bad happens, when shit starts raining out of the sky, and you need someone to come over and hold your hand, we will hold your hand, but then we'll be truthful with you and say, remember, I told you this covers XYZ and no more than XYZ, and I'm here to help you through the process. And I'm going to help you through the process to get the limit of your liability on coverage. Yes, because that's what I promised you, that I was going to advocate for you, because I work for you. You pay my salary and I work for you. So if any of you, and I'm sure there's a lot of you out there who are like, well, I had an accident and I had to go to the phone tree and then they didn't give me my check. And I heard that the other day from someone else. It's like, I'm still waiting on that check. Well, half the time, there's 3 big boys in auto and 3 or 4 big boys on home. And if you're not with one of them, you're not going to get the full check and you might not get the full service. I'm just saying we're the full ride on that. John, you want to say anything to that?
Yeah. So, I mean, with the home auto renters, choosing an agent, all of those things, the biggest takeaway that I've gotten from my experience, especially just from, just dealing with our community, because I always try to go out and talk to people that's, in my demographic, younger Black males. And the thing about it is that because it's something that the law requires, we've kind of just retailed it out. And what I mean by that is like, hey, I need insurance. I'm just going to look at prices and I'm going to just pick something off of a list. And we have to kind of change our mentality because of what we're actually buying. Just like Jaime said, it is a legal document. And when things occur, you're going to need certain things to happen. So what happens is that you almost have to, bite the bullet and protect yourself ahead of time and just find someone that you trust, that you really feel that you can talk to, that you can really be honest with, because you're buying that to protect yourself more than anything else, whether you really see it or not. And find that person that can convey that to you is what I would suggest,
Well, now I'm going to jump in there. I said I was going to wait to the end because I think you hit on something both of you did, but I think, John, what you hit on, and this is a big issue that we deal with in the Black community, trust. So many things happen and we lose trust, right? So people get insurance. Then they have a claim. Then the claim company don't want to support the claim. Then they don't want to give them the full amount. Then they want to come up with these hidden clauses that, in your policy it said that. I really want you all to speak to that because those are the questions. Yeah. When I go out in the community, we do financial leadership training. This is the stuff that people tell me, the negative experience. But I also want, when you talk about homeowner and you talk about rental insurance, right? Typically in our community is divided. We have folks that's renting, folks who are ownership. Typically homeowners have that insurance. But I want you all to break down the myth because I hear folks saying, I live in public housing. I live in a project. They don't want to give me insurance. Can you guys break down these myths when we talk about rental? Because I think also so many of our folks, especially right now, the times we in, the cost of inflation and the cost of living here in the Bay Area is so high. A lot more people are renting. But what we find is when folks have floods and fires and things of that nature, they don't have rental insurance. And they like, I didn't know. So can y'all break that down and break the myth? Can people live in public housing have insurance and things of that nature?
Yes. Yes, you can. And if you are alive and you live in a dwelling and you own things and you go outside and you do things outside of your automobile, you need renter's insurance. And I will explain why. And I'll even start with a true story. I used to work at an agency that was not Farmers. And we were a pretty big agency, a pretty big office. 14 agents, like 8 underwriters, huge office. And one of our underwriters had a fire, did not have renter's insurance. And I was shocked because of where we worked. But when we spoke to her, she's like, well, yeah, I had it when I got my lease, but I really didn't think I needed it. Let me explain to you it's multiple things, but the 2 biggest things about renter's insurance that we have to know as a community. The most important is the liability aspect of it. What your renter's insurance does is it covers you for liability for personal injury to others and damage to others' property. So if something happens, maybe you're clumsy and you fall into someone and then they fall into someone and both of those people break their legs, something crazy like that. It doesn't seem like it would affect your renter's insurance or be a renter's insurance claim, but it's your liability. It's to protect you if someone sues you, if something occurs outside of an automobile. The second part about it is your stuff. Your stuff. We're based in the Bay. You're in San Francisco. They call it BIP City. Your car insurance does not cover bipping. It covers that window, but the laptop that you left on your passenger seat, renter's insurance. The stuff in your trunk, renter's insurance. The stuff they ravaged through and took out of your glove box is covered by renter's insurance. And a lot of us do not know these things because we do go to the online insurance agents. We do just click some buttons and hit buy. We don't want to sit on the phone and have that conversation and tell somebody our business. And that's why the biggest thing when I sit down with people is I'm like, look, this is me. You know what I mean? You're going to get to know me because I'm about to get all up in your business. I'm about to ask you a ton of questions. And it's not because I'm messy. It's because when things happen and you hit my phone at, 11:30 at night because A, B, and C happen, we're going to have an understanding. So when we get on the phone with farmers, we know what's up. I know what's up with you. You know what's up with me. So we can get your stuff done. And a lot of people don't treat their insurance like that or their insurance agents like that. We like to keep our professionals at arm's length because you think I'm going to try to sell you something. You get what I'm saying? And I feel it. I like to hold on to my ducats too, so I feel it.
Now don't come on here with the State Farm. Your agent is here. Are you gonna click it? John's gonna pop up in the picture.
Oh man! First of all, you better not be calling me at 11:30 p.m. because the reason is I'm going to have you so well insured that if something happens, you can say, "That's all right, Mom. I'm going to go over to the Holiday Inn. We're going to check us in." Jamie has it covered. The white people call me Jamie, so he has me covered. I know he has me covered. I'm good. Why? Because I explained it. There's two things that you need before you move into life. There's two things that you really need, and it's super cheap. Renter's insurance is one of them. You can get away with like $10 a month, $13 a month, $20 a month if you have $500,000 of stuff in your apartment. It's super inexpensive. The other thing is an umbrella. Yeah, super inexpensive for $1 million coverage. You will not leave my office without, if you come in for a car, without the renter's insurance, because make note of this. It is less expensive to buy auto and renters than it is just to buy auto. So people, you walk in and you think the agent's trying to take your money. Well, I sold you your auto, but how about some renters? No, you could just want more money. I don't want more money. I'm gonna saving you money. I'm taking money out of my pocket, but it's a better deal for you. You get the renter. Someone steals your car. Now all your stuff is in it. Boom, you're done. It's like, what are you going to do now? So auto and renters, the liability is a trick. Please up your liability. And this is something that a lot of agents don't do, where we add the underage kids onto as named insured. Why? Because we want to double up on everything. We want to make sure that when you write that home policy, you got the kids in there. Oh, how are we going to make sure that when Joaquin or Kwanzaa over there goes to school and he pokes the kid's eye out, that the parent's not coming back, isn't going to take my house. Well, he's insured and he's named insured through your auto policy. Oh, that's how he got on there. Yes, he's a named insured through your auto policy. And then guess what? The umbrella policy kicks in for them also. Might have been his fault. He might have wanted to take that kid's eye out. Maybe he even had it coming. But we don't care about that. What we care about is we want to make sure that you're well insured for this. The other thing is that we also, that you shouldn't leave our office without is personal injury. And that's only $1 or $2 a year. $1 or $2 a year. But now, when you go up to, Karen's home and you say, "Yo, Karen, you're a nosy ass Emma, whatever." It's like, and she sues you for being, for saying all those bad things about her on the internet, and now she's all over Instagram. You're liable for that because you ruined her reputation as being a Karen. Well, wouldn't you rather just have me give her a check to go away than you have to, have your check taken apart? And you're going to laugh at this because of a clerical error 5 years ago, and I had farmers. Farmers thinks I didn't pay some bill. They're garnishing my wages. Just today I received it for $469. It's no big deal. But insurance wasn't built on the back of people who don't have money. It was built on the backs of people who pay. They will pay up to the limit of liability for sure. But at the same time, they're going to come and get that money. And if you're not insured, they're going to take your paycheck. California law stipulates up to 25% of your legal paycheck belongs to them up to the time that liability has paid. So if you don't have renters, $13 a month or $15 a month. If you don't have renters, and that barbecue that you're barbecuing on the balcony where you shouldn't be barbecuing falls to the neighbor's downstairs balcony and burns his balcony out and part of his living room, you're liable for that. And they're going to come after that 25% of your paycheck for the rest of your life until you've paid. We have so many clients like that, and no one talks about it. No one talks about having their wages garnished because it's embarrassing. No one wants to say, my wages are being garnished for the next 10 years because, I was stupid. No one wants to say that, right? When you could, when a simple $13 payment or $10 payment or whatever it might be for renters would have covered the deal. So that's why I make sure to tell everyone to get their renter's insurance, have a tight auto policy. Don't go 1535. Don't do that. Once you're in the ballpark, let's say that your auto is $110 a month. Once you're in the ballpark, the increases to better coverage are minimal, literally $3 or $4 a month. That's it. Wouldn't you rather have 100,000, 300,000 on your auto and not have to worry, that you hit a car and ruin the car that's $40,000 and there's a kid on the car and you took their limb or something like that. Let's not worry about that. It's minimal incremental.
Let me speak on that too.
Hold on, before you go, John. You sure it's $13 a month? I'm getting a little nervous over here.
Ask John. You believe the black man? Why don't you believe me? John.
It is. We're talking with renters. We're talking. Legit, $130 a year, $150 a year.
Well, I'm upset. Listen, I'm upset right now. I'm gonna tell you, I'm over here pounding my desk. I'm a homeowner now, but when I rented, I've never had a rental policy under $65 a month. So now I'm upset. I feel like
you got juiced. You got juiced big. They saw you come through the door and they're like, "Oh, we got this, brother." They got you. No, the minimum farmer's policy I think now is $139. That's the minimum for the year, and you get quoted on your zip code. So everyone in your zip code has the same price. It's an egalitarian quote. Honestly, it doesn't matter. Everyone in that zip code has this exact same renter's quote from farmers or any other agency.
All right, see, now y'all get me excited. Y'all get me excited. I got AAA. I might have to switch back over to farmers. I'm getting excited right now.
I gotta go. You said something I didn't like. No.
But just to speak to, because Jaime touched upon coverage limits and not to get 1535. And one of the things that I did, it was maybe 2 years ago, because, when you go in there and it's like, oh, give me the cheapest. And it's like, you sure you don't want 100, 300 or 50, 100? And once again, those defense mechanisms come in. This person's trying to sell me something. I'm just going to break it down like this. The average cost of an auto claim with a broken leg in California was $60,000. How easy is it to break your leg in a car accident? Now, the second question that I would want people to think of is, okay, I get in an accident. I have 1530. Someone breaks their leg. What happens? Well, that first number is 15,000. That's how much we're paying per person. So no matter what happens to that person, we're only giving them 15,000. So you're already 45,000 in the red. That second number is 30,000. That means that if you hit a clown car and there's 11 people in there, the most we're paying for that entire accident, no matter how many people there, is $30,000. So if you have 15 broke legs, everyone's getting like $700 a piece. And you're on the hook for the rest of that. Like, you really got to understand what you're signing and what you're buying, so we don't screw ourselves trying to protect ourselves from, someone who other people, other cultures really view as a consultant. You get what I'm saying? So that's something that really touched my soul when he starts talking about coverage limits, because we have to understand what we're buying. You're buying car insurance in case someone sues you.
We might have to jump over home because we're going so far on car, but I will tell you, there's a line in your auto policy that everyone, when they go to the online services, go over it. I don't need that, or get the minimum. It's uninsured motorist.
Mm.
Fool, uninsured motorist ain't for the uninsured motorist, fool.
It's for
Uninsured
you.
motorist is for you. When your ass gets hit by the uninsured
When
motorist.
Mr. 1530 hits you,
And
your
you-
uninsured motorist takes that
So
gap.
y'all mean the people out there that's doing sideshows that run and hit your car, they don't got no insurance.
That's what uninsured motorist is for. That's literally what it's for.
You're insuring yourself against that fool. And what you just picked was, I'm going to pay myself for court costs, for the hospital bill, for pain and suffering. That's the biggest one. I'm suffering. I got pain. Well, normally that'd be $100,000, $200,000, $300,000, but you just insured yourself for $1,530 because you didn't know what you were doing. That's the big one. That's the one's like, I'll tell you right now, for people out in Arizona, the number in Arizona, 60% or 63% of Arizona is uninsured or underinsured. So if you're listening from Arizona, which I doubt you are, but if you are, get yourself some higher uninsured motorist coverage. Lastly,
we got some folks from Arizona watching. We got people all across the world watching both sides.
there's black people in Arizona? I'm kidding. So here's the other one, man. It's like, oh God, I got so many topics in my head now. The liability amount, man. It's like you guys have to understand what we're paying. You know, it's like, so I'm going to close out with, don't go with the cheapest. No, come to an agent who knows what they're selling you and can explain it to you so you feel comfortable on what you're buying.
And if you're a person that's, likes to really gather the information, talk to more than one agent. Invest the time in yourself. Find someone you're comfortable with that explains it in a way that you can really, digest it, because these things are important. They're so important.
See, community, this is how real we is at both sides of the conversation. For community, I'm going to test you guys, okay? My insurance for my home, auto, it's coming up. They just sent me all the paperwork. I want to get a quote from y'all. I want to see, because these numbers, I'm kind of scratching my head. I know what I'm paying now.
I'm an expert.
I'm going to come back and give the community a review. I'm reaching out to y'all after the show. I want to get a quote.
I will give you a quote written as a bad farmer's agent, which there are, because there's bad everything, right? Half the people in your graduating high school class were at the bottom. Let's be honest. The other half were at the top, just the numbers, right? So there's good agents, there's bad agents, but I will write you a bad quote, and using the exact same data, write you a good quote, and you're going to think, how's that possible? This quote is like night and day. How is this? And it is. It's possible. And before we'll probably jump over home quotes, because I really want to get to life, but I'll tell you on the home side, just so you know, the average mailman spill in front of your house, and that's someone falling, delivering the mail, or someone falling because of something, because you didn't fix a crack that the city said you had to fix, or your step was uneven, it wasn't offset correctly, or whatever it might be, is $460,000. That's the average settlement on a fall on a home. So if you don't have $500,000 of liability minimum on your home, you're doing something wrong. Your agent talked you down by saying, "Oh, you only need $300,000." Man, the difference is only $12. Shut the F up.
$12.
Literally, it's only $12 a year.
I'm putting y'all to the test. My time is up with this other company. They just sent me paperwork. I want a quote. I want to see it to believe it. Community, okay. I'm going to put Jaime to the test, and I'm going to come back and give y'all a review.
Well, I promise y'all. I want the test when your policy's up for renewal, because everyone except for farmers went up in the double digits. They all went up 12, 14, 16%. Farmers priced right. Farmers knew what they were doing. And yes, you're like, why do I have to pay a little bit more with farmers? Because we have the inflation already in it. We're like, we know what it's going to cost. We know that lumber went up 300%. You can't fool me on that. We know that minimum wage went up in the county, in the city, at least to like $17, but no construction worker in the city gets $17 an hour. You know that for a fact. And boss man is not going to take minimum wage on his take home when he rebuilds your house. So you have to price it out. So anyway,
All right, I'm putting you to the test, community. I promise you, y'all know I'm a man of my word. I'm going to connect with Jaime. I'm going to give him all my information, and I'm going to see if this is right. If it's right, I'm changing all my policies, okay? I'm going to tell y'all if he did it or not. I promise y'all. But go ahead. We're going to jump into the life insurance.
All right. So life insurance to me is very dear because I don't know about John, but for me, it creates wealth and everyone needs it. And why do I need life insurance? Because you're going to die, fool. And you're going to die and you're going to have homeless kids or kids who with no school lunch or a mama who's maybe not there. Maybe a grandma's going to be taking care of the kids. You don't know. I mean, we're hardworking. I used to wake up at 3 a.m. to help my dad in the bakery. You know, I used to go 15, 16 hours. He didn't care. Yeah. And thank God we made something of it. But suppose I didn't. Suppose I was one of my classmates. I'm pretty sure that most of my classmates in grammar school or here in the Mission in San Francisco at St. Peter's, I guarantee you that most of those parents had no life insurance. The life insurance is the number one way to create an estate. And what I mean by an estate is, you know, Saint Michel, whatever in France, that's an estate. It might be the name of a wine, but it's an estate, and they accumulated wealth, whether they stole it, whether they were, you know, doing booze and you know, Walgreens and Budweiser during the no booze years in the United States. You know, however it is, they accumulated wealth, and one way to accumulate wealth is through life insurance. And there's two options: you can get a term policy, or you can get what people in the industry call a whole policy, or more of a permanent policy. And I have two examples here that I'd like to share with you on how inexpensive a $150,000 and a $500,000 life insurance policy would be for an average male who does not smoke at the age of 20, 40, and 60. So while I prepare my screen, why doesn't Michael, if you have something to say?
Yeah, no, you definitely touched on a big thing with the life insurance. It really is about establishing an estate for your family, and you know, just really preparing them for when you're gone. And I know, especially in our community, and you know, I told you guys I grew up in Detroit. You know, we don't think, or we undervalue what we bring to the table. A lot of times I'll have clients, well, hey, my wife doesn't really need life insurance. I'm the only one that works. But it's like, cool, your wife dies. How much is daycare nowadays? You know, you have to think of those things. And I know that it's really hard to touch or think about your own mortality or about not being there and how that looks. And I know that that's a big deterrent for a lot of people to pursue life insurance. But what Jaime is going to convey is exactly how inexpensive it really, really is. It's a little bit of effort. You may have to, you know, fill out an application. You may have to get some blood drawn, but financially wise, I mean, you can get life insurance for cheaper than a Metro bill, legit. So it's one of those things that we just have to really be vocal about in our community because, you know, we just don't like to talk about those things until it's time to promote the GoFundMe. Then we have to.
Right. So, John, while Jaime's pulling it up, he ain't there yet. I don't know why my community. See, this is how you know you with the community. I got folks texting me to ask y'all questions instead of them coming on and putting it in the comments themselves. I don't know why, but that's my people, right? So one of the things they wanted to talk about, make sure y'all talk about earthquake insurance and how come when they put in claims, the new bill of their cost goes up so much high. I know it has a lot to do with the insurance commission, but that's the question they're concerned with our folks. If they make a claim and their bills go up, the policy goes up so much after making a claim. So I want to know where farmer's stance is on it. You don't have to answer it now, but I wanted to get it out there before because my community, they like to text me instead of going up, putting the comments in the chat. But I see your PowerPoint presentation up. I'll get it up on the screen here. And let me remove some of this. All right, there you go. It's up there. You could take over. It's up.
So as you can see on the far right, this is a non-nicotine male, age 40, which is a lot of the people who start thinking about insurance start too late. And I say 40 is too late. You've already lost 40 years. When is the time to buy a life insurance policy? When you're born. If you have a smart mom or dad, they probably said, hey, I'm gonna hook you up now, and I'll tell you where that leads later. So if you're a 40-year-old male, it's going to cost you about $17 to $21, as you can see over here, to get a life insurance policy for 10 years. For 20 years, it'll be from 28 to 34. For 30 years is 50 to 58, right? So you get locked in price for 30 years at the most expensive $58. Well, what if I wait till I'm 60? Well, if you wait till you're 60, fool, this is what happens. You're going to have to pay for a 20-year policy. You'll be paying between $161 and $198. Why would you wait till you're 60? You're dying every day. Every day you get older. The earlier you get locked into price, the cheaper it is. Yeah. At 50, it's a little bit more expensive than 40. At 60 is a little bit more expensive. So if you buy at 40, a 30-year policy lasts you to the time that you're 70, and it's going to be $58, right? At most. If you wait till you're 60 and you buy a 10-year policy, now that same policy is going to cost you $89. But when you hit 70, now it's $146 to $198, depending on what your health rating is. So as I tell, term policy, think of it as a rental policy. You're just renting it. You're not making any money. There's no surrender value. It is what it is. It's a non-nicotine. I'll guide you through it. Believe it or not, we've had a few people who've been denied because of marijuana smoking. I think it's BS, but they've adjusted for that now. They've even just adjusted for cocaine, and I shouldn't say that. But if I think the recreational user is now taken into consideration. But if you're telling me you're smoking 10 blunts a day, I'll probably tell you that, hey, man, you need to pull back on the blunts. Anything you have to say, Johnny?
Yeah, no, I just like the way that you explained the term as it's renting. Another thing that I like to say to our community as well, especially I can already hear the people, even though the speakers aren't here, when you're like, start early. And they're like, Jaime don't know what he's talking about, bruh. I work at Burger King. What I'm telling you is, if that you're 21, 22, get that term policy for $20 a month. Get
Less
it.
than that.
Less than that, because
15,
as
10.
you grow, as you mature, as you start to make more money, we can convert that for you. That's something that I'm not going to name drop, but that's something a lot of these like network marketing life insurance people can't do when they put you on a 50-year term when you're 20, that you're never going to get cash value from that.
John and I can take you from a term policy because you're working at Burger King or at La Victoria Bakery, my old bakery, or down the street at the boba place. As a 20-year-old, you can probably have life insurance for $9. When you hit 20, now when you hit 30, guess what? You already have a health rating. Your health, I can't take away your health rating. I already took your blood. Mm-hmm. I can take that health rating and now move you into a permanent policy. And believe it or not, this is the industry just announced, and I just heard it this afternoon, that April 15th, that even changes even more. We are going to take that health rating and a little bit more and put more money into your policy, pushing it forward. And it's good for the client, and it's also good for the agent, because we'll be able to give you a much better product all the way through. And you might not make your first, and I'm going to go big, you might not make your first $1 million like my dad did until he was like 58 or 60, 58, 59, 60. Maybe it's going to take you a while to get there, right? Maybe you'll never make it. Maybe you're going to be stuck at 115,000 when you tap out as a police officer at 134 or a fireman at 112. I get it. But you're going to carry your health rating, and you're going to be able to afford that better, bigger policy. And you're going to need it. Why are you going to need it? Because now you have 3 kids, and you have a wife or a husband, whatever it is however you live your life, and they're going to need the support in the case that you die. And let me tell you right now, you're going to die. One way or another, you're gone. So why don't you protect your family? Because I'll tell you what happens. What I tell my clients straight up, I said, "Oh, you don't want no, I don't need life insurance policy." Well, why not? I'm okay. I write on my business card, and I told John earlier, I'll say, "Okay, sir, on the back of this business card, write me the name and phone numbers of the 2 or 3 people who are going to take care of your family when you're gone, so I can call them and tell them to take care of your family when you're gone. You know how many people have filled out the back of that card? None. And then I tell them, your wife's going to have to date someone else and is going to have to get married again because she's no fool. She needs a double income to get through life. And, you know, you're going to have, instead of having your wife raise your kids with all the money you left them, you're going to have some other fool relying on some other fool bringing home the bacon to take care of your kids. I don't know about you, but that doesn't sit well with me. So I make sure that my family household is properly insured. John, before I'm going to move off of this screen. If you have anything else to add, I'm going to put the other screen on.
You mean John Michael or
either one, John Michael?
Oh,
Oh yeah, okay. He was talking about pot. I said, I don't know how many of these young kids in the community, they 20-year-old, they smoking pot. I don't know. But it's amazing how when we talk about equity and we talk about how cocaine use is okay for our richer clients, but when we talk about pot, because so many young folks use it, those disparities. And this is why I say when we talk about equity and we talk about how systems, you know, segregate people by different things. And this is just a great that Jaime brought up how cocaine is okay, but marijuana is not. So it just goes to show you like what we deal with every day.
Yes, absolutely.
And I'm not encouraging drug use. Okay,
I'm not either.
We're having real conversation.
I'm not either, but I need to be real with people who do, you know, and it's a lot of them. Oh, and, you know, it's out there as a recreational tool. You know, I need it for my cataracts or whatever. Fine, I get it. You know, and people advocate for medicinal marijuana. I get it. I totally get it. So
no, my community ain't gonna beat me up. I'm glad you guys are being real and authentic, and that's what we are about here at Both Sides of the Conversation. I love the realness, and you know, our community, we get it. But I just put that out there because people be funny. Next they'll be saying, "Oh, John Henry was out there promoting."
I'm not promoting it. You're not promoting it.
I know, but you know how this social media stuff work. You know, you'll say something, and next thing you know, they'll be saying, "I'm on here advocating for drugs."
Yeah. So this is my next screen. I don't know if you can pop it up.
Yeah, I don't see it yet. Go ahead and share it. I don't see it.
Oh, shoot. I did it the wrong way. I got to hit I'm old. Share screen. There we go. There we go. Share screen. Now I'll go over here, and then I'll go over here. All right.
There you go. It's up. It's hard to see, though. You might have to increase or press play or to your presentation because it's a little.
I want to increase it so you can see the numbers. So this is an IUL. And it's better than the average bear, and it's better than the average industry. And a lot of people are starting to mimic us because they're starting to lose money, a lot of it. And Farmers has an exceptionally strong product when it comes to with life insurance. The other thing about Farmers is because we're gonna, you heard Flo on those commercials, and I'm okay to talk about Flo because actually Farmers owns Progressive, so it's a solid product. I get it, but you don't have an agent. And Flo can't sell you life. What I'm telling you is that when you buy auto and home with us, you have your agent, you have it for the life of it. Well, most agents, the reason the insurance industry is so shady sometimes, and I'm not talking about Farmers, I'm talking about others, of course, is that your agent only makes money on your policy the first 2 years. After that, you're on your own. As a Farmers agent, I rep you on your auto and home, and I keep your life policy with me. So that forces me to be a better agent to you because I have to service all of it, right? So that's why you want your life policy with the man who has your auto and your home, because we're always there looking out for you. Not only that, you get a 7% discount to have life with us. Remember, if you have a $200 auto policy, let's pretend you have like a whole bunch of traffic tickets, you know, and I can save you 7%, and that 7% is going to a life policy. It's like almost having free life because you can pay for it, right? Now, when you have life and home, and then you get the extra 17% discount on renters, you're getting all these bundles on top of each other. You're saving a lot of money. Anyway, enough about that. This is a $250,000 IUL. This is not even the least you can start out with. This is the target, or is it the target? Let me see. Yes, it's target amount that I chose at $59. This is baby. I'm sorry.
Can you increase it a little bit so that the community can see the numbers? It's a little bit, it's kind of small. Okay.
Oh, it went away. Oops. There we go.
Oh,
Is it? Can you see it still?
yeah, I can see it.
There you go. That's a little bit better.
All right. So now let me make it a little bit smaller because it's as big as my screen. All right. This is Baby Brown. I'm not suggesting you give Baby Brown $60 a month from the point he was born. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that this is a target amount for your policy to last through Baby Brown's life. And I chose brown because I'm brown versus black. Hey, that's an argument we can have. And it'll last. And what I mean by that is, on these products, you need to put enough money for it to give you the death benefit plus the amount that it's earning. Now, Baby Brown could go as small as, I think, $12. I think is the smallest amount that you can start Baby Brown a month. But now you have Baby Brown in insurance. They're rated, and guess what? Because they're a baby, they don't have to take a health exam. They're already born perfect. All right. So there's no health exam. There's none of that. If they have no diseases, unfortunately, their kids were born with stuff or life-threatening diseases, then you can buy a policy. Now, I made it $59 so I can go into later years, and I describe this case scenario over here as minimum rates of if the zombie apocalypse hit, the market's kind of completely goes zero. There hasn't been a market like that, but I have to tell you that's what happens. Yeah. If it's a normal standard market, not even a booming market, this last of Baby Brown is 65 if you don't fund it anymore. 300 and Baby Brown gets 250 at the end, but you can see in the middle process it starts to grow a little bit, right? Once again, I'm not advocating for this amount. The amount that you pick needs to be compensatory to what you're making and what makes you feel comfortable. I chose a baby because it's easier to demonstrate the power of compound interest. All right, so now I'm going to pick the Baby Brown Max. Once again, I am not advocating for you to buy your baby a $497 policy. But I will say, when we saw the last numbers, if you tried to get insurance as a 60-year-old, what was that number? It was $200. So Baby Brown is already ahead of the game because they're not paying the $200 at the age of 60. Yeah, they're paying $59, which gives them some sort of teeth. Now, the reason I picked this number on Baby Brown is because I wanted to show you some of the tools that it takes that happens when this policy is growing. So there's a bunch of pages here that are great, but you can pick anything between $59 as I choose as a target and $497. People are like, well, why would I do that? Well, this is how rich folk get away with so much money. They don't buy the $250,000 face policy, which means that from the moment you're insured, you get a minimum of $250,000 if you die. No, they're buying it for the tools that it gives you as you go through age. Now, these laws were mostly written in the 80s when we had a whole bunch of people trying to protect their money. So as we get older, Baby Brown's getting older, and now Baby Brown hits 65. At 65, Baby Brown can give their family, if they pass, $3,895,554 using a very conservative interest rate of 5.69. Shady agents can model up to, I think 8%, 9%, 12%. Farmers tells us we can't. We can only model up to 8.9%, and I would never model that for a client. And I'll tell you why if we have time. Now at 65, Baby Brown looks at me and says, I'm no longer a baby, and I've been paying all this money. How much can I get back right now if I want to? Well, at 65, the surrender value, here's the surrender value, is $3,163. $3,193,077. Sorry, I mispronounced that. That's what if you surrender this policy, that's what they give you. But because it's a life insurance tool, it is taxable income. You're going to have to pay the government the going tax rate. But you say, well, hell, at $3 million, I don't mind giving them $100,000. Well, you have options also. I set up this policy for Baby Brown to retire at 65, and at 65, he starts to get $5,000 back. Do you see the $5,000? Now, you can use that for vacation. I don't know what inflation will be by then. Maybe you can only buy a Snickers bar. I'm being egregious there. I'm exaggerating a little bit. But you're getting $5,000 back. And those $5,000 are tax-free as long as there's a death benefit. So for the next 30 years, I'm giving you $5,000 back of your money. Now, if you took that money out before 65, I would charge you an interest. I'm going to charge you interest to take that money, but you're going to have to pay it back. Yes, and you'll be paying that interest back to yourself. It's not paid back to farmers. That is your money. It is your interest, and I'm going to make sure you pay 8% on that to borrow money from yourself. At 65, when you hit retirement age, you no longer have to pay that money back. What? So the money I took out before I was 65, I don't have to pay back? If you were making your monthly payments plus interest and you hit 65 and you still have monthly payments to make, they get wiped out. You don't have to pay that money back. It is money that you took out tax-free. Yes? Whoa. Are you still with me?
Yes.
Okay, I'm so sorry. So I tell people when you hit 65, 75, those $5,000 might not go to your vacation as you did when you were 65. Maybe it goes to medication. Maybe it goes to pills. Maybe it goes to a new wheelchair. Maybe it goes to a ramp for your home to get into the house. I don't know what you need those. But as you can see, in this particular policy, there's a lot of money. At age 115, it's 131 million. At age 31 million. At age 121 is $40 million. Why? Because you pre-funded it so well that there's all this money left over. As I'm saying, I'm not advocating you put in $497.59 in there unless you have them, because there's so many benefits. And I also would say, put this plan together with a good financial advisor that John recommends you to, because you should have your finances spread out. You should have a certain amount in the stock, a certain amount in life insurance, a certain amount in bonds, a certain amount in real estate. Granted, a lot of us can't afford that. I get it. If that's the case, I would start with a smaller face amount. I can do one while John speaks. Tell you what the maximum is and what the minimum is, and still give you all of these benefits. Now, these are ridiculous numbers, but how many cars have you bought in your lifetime that you said, man, I shouldn't have bought that Camaro? It was like, with the spinning wheels, it was $500 a month for 5 years. And I bought another one, and I bought a Denali after that. You're putting money in the cars and, all these other things. Why? When you can be investing in yourself. I'll let John take over. I want to.
The thing that I'm going to speak on too while you're pulling up the other slide, and this is why I love IULs, or Index Universal Life, right? As you see, Jaime showed you $50 and he showed you $500, right? And it was the same person. One of the biggest things about the IUL is the versatility. If you notice, once he started taking that $5,000, the death benefit still went up because you're still earning interest. On the first page of that illustration, and I'm sure it'll show you the amount that you put in versus the amount that you can withdraw. And you'll be surprised how much you make on those premium payments. And when I say it's versatile, is because your policy has cash value. Let's say I get a bonus from work and I want to put $497 in January. I can put that $497 in. Let's say February, my girl left me and I had to move and I just blew 10 bands and I don't got no money. I don't have to pay no bill because my policy has that cash value. It gives you that flexibility. These are things that other communities are currently using to fund things like college, elder care, retirement, buying a $70,000 RV to drive across the country to yell at other people about the beliefs that I don't believe in, all types of crazy stuff. You know what I mean? You can really utilize these tools to really create wealth legitimately. And you don't have to do 50. You don't have to do the 497. And usually when I sell life insurance, the first question I ask is, How much do you want to budget for this? Because it's literally that versatile. It's that versatile. Hey, John, I got $80 a month. Make it work. Cool. Hey, John, I got $280 a month. Make it work. Even better. But you can still utilize these tools, of course, to different effects. Of course, putting $200 in isn't the same as putting in $5. But putting $200 in, if we're already going up to 31 million, maybe at 100 you have 8 million. Okay, you get what I'm saying? And that's why I like the versatility, because we're not knocking on your door every month. Hey, I need that $400. You really control this product completely, all the way down to the monthly payment. Now, of course, math is math, so you can't put 99 cents in a month and expect, things to just work out via magic. But it's not that stagnant. What I see a lot of our people, if they do have insurance, it's one of those 30-year terms. It's just this is 110. You can't change it. I got it from the lady that was knocking door to door. I really don't know that. You don't have to do that. And other cultures are not doing that. They're not. They're just not. So.
Now I have to say, we're gonna have both sides of the conversation on that at the end. But
yeah, absolutely.
I told Jaime already what some of my issues are. We kind of addressed it, but I'm dealing with my people right now. So
I get it.
Yeah.
I totally get it, and you should. But there's some shady people out there selling stuff that sounds similar, looks similar, smells similar, but they're not giving you the complete truth. That they can't do certain things with it, and they just can't. And you were talking earlier about the index, just a standard index universal, right? And it's like, yeah, there are people selling that product. I get it. It's tied to the market. What happens if you lose? Well, on this product, Farmers gives you a floor of 0. You can never lose your investment, and your investment will never go down. You will never earn less than 0% interest or lose money, go backwards on your money invested in this product ever. But because of that, there's a flip side. They're like, hey, we got you. And you saw the big amount of money that was in there. But if they're going to cap you at 8.69%, they're going to keep the rest, but they made a whole lot of money for you. So they are keeping the rest, but they're capping you. So for that 0 or the floor, they're going to say you can only make X amount. Now, if you want to go into the market and tie it to a VUL, that's a great product. But on that product, you're going to have to sit and wait and take your money out on a good year, not a bad year. It's like it's just the way it is. And you're going to have to be wiser, and you're going to have to talk to your agent about it. Is this a good year with the withdrawal? Because I saw the market go down, it tanked. Well, he's going to say you might want to wait a year or two on this one, because it's not, you lost so much in 2028, and in 2041, whatever it is, the market didn't rebound as well as should. The market always rebounds. So unless there's nuclear war, the market's going to rebound. So there's always that.
We might have nuclear war. We got
right.
We got Putin going nuts right now.
And I tell people, if there is, all bets are off, man, because I'm not going to be around to try to withdraw the money anyway. So, it's just, but thank God there's giant hard drives and these big servers where they're saving my money somewhere. Thank God. They can't blow up the whole world, or they can try, but hey. So I'm going to pull up 30-year-old Max. I'm going to
John or Jaime, don't forget to talk about pet insurance, because a lot of people got dogs, cats, rabbits, and everything. Make sure y'all talk about pet insurance.
This is my thing on pet insurance. It exists. You should buy it if you got a pet. Love your pet. I love my pet. Okay, there it is.
I'll speak on that just from personal.
Yeah, speak on pet insurance.
I'll speak on pet insurance. Especially now, I recommend people get pet insurance. The thing to do now is to get bulldogs. I don't know if you ever took a bulldog to a vet. I have an English bulldog. Just get pet insurance, man. They have nose issues, sinus issues, eyes issues. But pet insurance is a little bit different in that I would just say to talk to your agent about it. because that's another one of those things that you can go online, you can click some stuff up, you'll go to the vet and they'll be like, we're not covering this. Pet insurance is tricky. It's tricky. It's tricky because certain dogs, they don't cover certain. Yeah, it's tricky. That's another thing you need an agent for.
Yeah,
that's that I will say.
You definitely need an agent for that. And my reason to suggest pet insurance is because it'll affect your home insurance and your renter's insurance. It really will, because if your agent didn't tell you when you have pet insurance that you need to exclude the pet from your renter's or home policy on specific breeds, they're not doing their job. If you already have it and they didn't tell you, they didn't do their job. So there you go. That's why you need pet insurance.
Especially for those little Frenchy bulldogs. That's $10,000 everybody walking around with.
Exactly.
So I'm ready to share this screen.
Go ahead. It's up.
It's up. Okay. So this is one of the things that you were discussing. Yeah, the change in index, because there's a certain portion that's in your life insurance policy that doesn't get touched, and the other portion is in the investment part, the interest part.
Can you increase it just a little bit, because I can't see the percentage. There you go. You don't have to go too much, but I couldn't see it.
Okay, Grandpa. No, I'm kidding.
So, I am a grandpa. Don't be making fun of me.
No, man, I'm proud of you. I'm a grandpa too. Grandpas rock. Grandpas go to the gym and look good too. That's all I gotta say. So anyway, as we were saying, this is one of the things that you were talking about, the actual index change on the S&P and the Russell 500. In 2002, it went down 23%. That'd be a bad year to pull out your money, right? If you had a VUL. But what happened that year is we didn't take money away. We kept you at 0% for that year. Okay. But the other years it still gained. And the following year, it gained 26%. There it goes. Perfect. We kept you at 8.5%. It made so much. 899 capped you at 8%. 3% capped you at 3. 13 capped you at 8.5. So you see the trade-offs, and the average came down to 582 and 537 on the Russell index a year. I'm not saying for all these years, a year, which is a lot of times better than the market. Sometimes not so. But with this particular product, now I made this for a lot of our real world people out there. My homies, my brothers out there, my vatos, they're 30 years old right now. They're just shaking off their life, the life of whatever you had before, of hanging out at the bar and stuff like that, which is fine. We all went through that. So he's getting a real job. He has a girlfriend. He's thinking about kids now. He comes to me and says, hey, Jaime, what do you have for me? I said, hey, at a 30-year-old non-smoker, if you put in $92.25, which is still less, I might add, than that 50-year-old trying to buy a term policy. So you see the thing, buy early, don't buy late, because you're going to get juiced on that policy as a 50-year-old or 60-year-old or 70-year-old. Buy it early, get them locked in early. So in this particular case, $92, I chose this target. It taps out at 190,000 or 191,000 is the best year when you're 44 years old. I would say every time you get a raise, please put more money into it. But you still have that death benefit at 71 at $191,000. Now remember, you bought a $150,000 life product. I'm giving you, or you earned $191,000 as a death benefit. Putting in 1/4 of your car payment, because most of your people paying their $400 car bill. I hear that all day. I'm like, man, what are you doing? Get yourself a nice and expensive used Honda, right? You don't need all that horsepower. What are you going to do? Drive, from stoplight to stoplight to feel good? Fine, go for it. But that's a separate conversation. You can have me back to yell at the community for buying that car. Now, same person. He's 30 years old. Are you laughing at me? Why are you laughing at me? Yeah, Joe, you're laughing. So Baby Brown is now 30, as I mentioned. But now he's putting in a car payment, $566.50. He's part of policy for a value of $150,000 life face value. He's putting in 560. 560 is the max the federal government will let you put in. If you put in more than 560 or on the average, whatever 566.50, you can do the math, times 12, add $1 to that. The minute you do that, you put in more money than you should, it becomes a taxable product. Now the government's going to come to you and they're going to send you and me a letter saying, you put too much money in this, you owe us ordinary income tax on this product for the full amount. So always talk to your agent. Now, if you did put in your car payment, as I mentioned, or the equivalent to a car payment, and you continue to do so and fund this, and you turn 70 years of age, if you pass away at 70, your family still gets $855,401 as it's modeled conservatively. I'm not saying we're going to do better than the conservative model. I'm just saying that the likelihood of it being better than this is there. Yes, it's better than this conservative model. If you decide to come at me and at 70 and say, hey, Jaime, if I give up this product right now, how much do I get? The surrender value is $705,000. Okay, I'll give you $705,000 back, like I did with a client who had a surrender just this week. She wanted to pay for her daughter's wedding, and she and her husband surrendered their policies so they can pay for this nice wedding. You will get a check for $705,401, but then the federal government will dig in and tax you at ordinary income tax, not at capital gains, at ordinary income tax. But if you hold this product to the very end, at 95, you get $2,413,000. At 95, you might want to get some money back. So I have you taking back $5,000 for the future amounts, just in case, something's not covered by Medicare or Medi-Cal or whatever. You have that extra $5,000 a month that you can a year that you can pool for. Maybe they didn't cover the wheelchair. Maybe they didn't cover whatever it is. And if you're genetically gifted and you have been working out all these lives, you see those 100-year-olds or 90-year-olds are like all built up and stuff, that $5,000 is cream. You know what I'm saying? So here's your death benefit. There's their surrender value. Now, the one thing I will tell you is come over here to this side. That's page 95. At 95, you've paid in $441,000 of premium. Holy crap, that's a lot. Yes, it is a lot. You've paid in $441,000. But for God's sakes, you can take back $2 million too. That's how much interest it's generated, the difference between one and the other. So I'm going to take this off the screen so I can see my pretty face. But John, do you want to comment on any of this before I take it off the screen?
No, that's just, once again, just showing the versatility of what you're able to do. And then I also just want to reiterate, even with that example, where he said, okay, we're putting in a car payment because it has that cash value, because you are getting interest, and because the way the product is set up, you're in control of that. That's the number that he picked. Let's say things change, your job changes, your disposable income changes. You can change that amount. It'll definitely change the amount that you're able to pull out. But once we get to a certain level of money, it's serving its purpose is the whole thing. Because I know how people are. They'll see that and they're like, okay, $595 for 31 straight years. No one's going to keep the same thing for 30. Well, someone might, but the biggest thing is the versatility of the product and it being able to give benefits to you before you die, which is another thing that a lot of people don't realize that they can do with life insurance. These are things that are happening when you're living. If you start to pull money at 65, you're alive and you're benefiting from that. And you still have a death benefit for your family. To
add to that, let us say we went with the first model where you picked $92.25, right? When you pick $92.25, that doesn't mean you can't put in the $595. What I'm telling you is $595 times 12. The most you can put into your particular policy is $7,140 in one given calendar year before the government says you can't put in any more. That is it. If you wanted to put in more, you should have bought a $250,000 policy or $1 million policy to be able to back the Brinks truck into it. But most of us, I don't have that kind of cash. So we figure it out. So if you buy the $92 product, it's the exact same product as the $595 product, exact same product. At the end of the year, when your baby turns 10 or 12 and grandma gives them all that money or whatever, wherever it comes from, you can put in the difference, which is capped at $7,120. You can put in a difference at any time. It changes year to year, though. You have to call John and say, John Michael, how much can I put in this year? And we'll do the calculations. We'll call Farmers Underwriting. Said, well, you got a little older. You can put in a little bit more, but this is the max you can put in. If you put in $1 more, you're going to be taxed. Put in less than that. So what I do with a lot of clients is I say, buy this product if you think you're going to progress in life. If you think that today you're making $16 an hour and in 3 years you're going to be making $25 an hour, and you think you have a career, let's say in the insurance business, and you already have the product, now you can be an agent, and now you can put in, I don't know, $200 a month when you're starting. And trust me, if you become a farmer's agent, by the time you hit 3 or 4 or 5 years, you'll be able to max it out at $600 without breaking a sweat. And maybe that'll be the next topic of how can someone become a farmer's agent.
All right, I got it.
John Henry, kill me. Go for it.
I'm not gonna kill you. I'm actually excited. This was a great presentation. Anytime you have a man named Jaime on your show and a guy named John Michael, 2 first names like John Henry, very powerful. So I'm just gonna leave it there. I'm not even gonna go there. But John Michael and Jaime, I promise you this. I do want you to come back and talk about being an agent and maybe some of the other policies that you all offer or other PowerPoints that y'all can put together for a community, because I think it's important to have an overall umbrella view of the different policy, estate plan, or whatever you all have for folks. I think that is something that we also want to continue to keep pumping to our community. But with that being said, I am going to challenge you all at Farmers. And I am going to have you, Jaime, or John, whoever you want me to, I want to get a quote, because one thing about me is I don't play around with my people. One thing they know about me is I don't bring things to the community. I don't talk about things in the community that I wouldn't do for myself because I'm not in that business. But you guys came on at the right time because all my policies is coming up for renewal. Okay, so I'm going to send you over my information. We'll connect after this. I'm going to send it over, and then when y'all come back, we'll talk about it. I'll tell the community, did I take it or did I leave it? Okay. But again, that's just how I am. I'm not going to bring people on here that I wouldn't try this stuff myself. So you guys came on at the right time. I'm going to go ahead and test Farmers out and see if there's a savings. Is there a better policy that they could give me?
Whoa. Hold on. If you want a savings, I got a Geico site you can go to. I'll never beat their price. I won't. I'll be God honest with everyone here. I'm never beating a Geico price. But when's the last time you had a Geico agent come on and say, oh, yeah, hold on. Farmers is number one in doing that. Let me tell you a story. And this is a true story. You can look it up, John Henry. Some of the fires killed Northern California a few years ago. And you have everyone on their homes has something that, the content coverage, which is C on your form, and it tells you how much content you receive. Now, when your home burns down with your computer and everything in there, how likely is it that you're going to have all your receipts on you? Not very likely. Farmers went in there and said, these people are devastated. Let's get the farmer's van in here. And we wrote everyone to the max of their content. We didn't ask you for your big screen TV receipt or your sofa receipt. You were insured for this. Farmers know it's a travesty. They straight up wrote this. What did every other carrier, and it's public knowledge too, they did nothing. They kept on asking people for the receipts and all that, especially the insurance companies who are now, some of them cannot sell in California and they've left the state. What happens when they leave the state? Do you get your money? No, you don't get your money. They file a claim with the state, and the state collects from that company, wherever they are, whatever assets they have, they take it and they collect and they distribute 5% at a time to all their customers. So if you had content cover of 293,000, you might get 5% of that every year for the next 20 years. That's not coverage. Farmers went in there and said, we don't need receipts. We're going to write the check for the full amount. I read this and then I put it in my mind. And I, 8 years ago, 10 years ago, was a farmer's client. I had a bakery and the city, Maine, broke and $340,000 of shit water flowed into my basement. And they sent out the cleaners. I'm going to shout them out. Something Master. Wow. I'm going to shout them out in a sec. Save Master, Sewer Master, Pro Master came out because they were hired by farmers to pump all that water out of my basement. The agent came in and he looked in and said, yeah, you have stuff in there. Tell the guy to pull it out, take a picture, and that's all we need. They don't want their client going through feces and needles and condoms to figure out what serial number anything is. No, they pumped the water, they got it out of there, and then he said, write us a simple spreadsheet of what you think you had in there, including documents. I wrote a modest thing. I put it all out. I wasn't sure, but I eyeballed everything. And they, in 7 days, gave me a check for $74,000. I still have the stub that I can bring. I'll go through my records. That was in less than a week. Who does that if they don't have it? I had business insurance. It was farmers. They underwrote it. I know who it was. James Peregrino in the East Bay was my agent at the time. He came out and said, holy shit is right. And he advocates for me. He calls the guys, you got to take care of my boy. You got to take care of my boy. I went out there. That's what the farmer's agent says. He gets on the phone and he says, you got to take care of my boy, John Michael. You got to take care of why? Yeah, here are the pictures. Don't make him cry. He's devastated. Not only that, I had loss of income. Yeah, I had to close my business. I can't run with, 300,000 gallons of shit in the basement. Come on now. I had to close the business. So when you get a farmer's agent, that's what you get. Now, if you want to compare on price, feel free to do that. But when 300,000 gallons of shit hits your basement, you go collect on that and see what they tell you.
So
that's the difference.
I'm not here for the cheap price because I would never do that because I understand you pay for what you get. But as much as I like you, Jaime, I'm going to tell you, in the Black community, the experiences that I've heard that people deal with, and I've had some experience, not with farmers, but with some of these agencies and some of these insurance folks, when they deal with Black clients, it is that prove all, tell all, and all of that. And I hope that changes. But, I'm definitely going to let you look at my policies, give me a quote, and let me know what's going on. Because at the end of the day, I'm about quality, not quantity. And I don't care what it costs, but I want to make sure that I'm protecting myself and my assets. So I'm going to let you guys do that, and we'll come back and report to the community and let them know what I think of it. I'll give you guys my personal rating because, again, things do happen, and you have to be protected. You have to have the right insurances. And I think, tonight was very important, important presentation that you all put on, especially as I've been advocating and promoting to my community folks as we deal with this increase of gun violence and violence in our community. I'm asking our community tonight, let's take a look in the mirror and let's really sit down and think about making sure that we have the right life insurance coverages. Grandmothers, grandfathers, moms, pops, aunties, and uncles out there who have young people in the community. Make sure that we have the right life insurance coverage. That is one date that we all have, one appointment, as they say, we all have to make sooner or later. But right now, with the increase of violence in our community and, coming out of this pandemic, a number of losses have taken place. Let's do our part tonight to make sure we get covered and we protect our young folks and make sure that we have the right coverages just in case something takes place or transpires in our family. Go ahead.
For all those older people, I'm sorry to tell you that because you didn't have John Henry here, or you didn't have a father or mother telling you this, or because there were you know, a cost to the entry. Maybe they don't want to sell to black folk. Maybe they don't want you as a client. I understand that, but I'm sorry. But for people over 74 and a half years old, the only product we have is a graded death benefit, right, which pays for your funeral costs and a little money over that. And I said, that's the least you can do. It's a little bit more expensive, but at least you have that. I would say start with the young ones. Start with the young ones, or start with the teenagers. There's the 20-year-olds. You have to start somewhere. You got to break the cycle somewhere. We got to stop dying poor. It's just it's a fact of life. We got to stop dying poor.
And it's not
You know?
and it's not a big investment. Even if you have young children, I mean, we can do policies for the children to get them rated. We can add them to your policy as a rider. But it's one of those things where I keep saying you have to find an agent that you can trust, that you can really build with, because it's a long-term thing.
For God's sake, I see some. I go into people's homes and they got the NFL package on there. I know what that costs. That's $800-900 a year now. It ain't cheap. But when you add with the cable, and you telling me you can't afford the $20 or the $30, I don't want to buy life insurance. Like,
yeah. And then just to speak on another thing that you were saying as well, I'm just talking about his experience with the claim or showing receipts or things like that. Like that's literally, what you pay for. It's a difference. Like you had a question from your text message earlier, like, well, how come when I get a claim, this goes up, boom, boom, boom? Well, if you have homeowners insurance and you got it online and you don't have an agent, you can't call someone and say, hey, John Michael, this happened. Should I make a claim for this? Where your agent can be like, honestly, no, you shouldn't. Cash that out, because that's what you're paying for. Yo, this is going to affect your rates. If it's only this much to remedy it yourself, cash that out, bro.
Let me tell you a story about that.
Oh, go ahead.
Don't be judging me when I call you and say, man, what should
Let me tell you a story about that. Before we get to the question portion of your audience, let me tell you a story about that. This is a real experience. Man was paying $1,800 for his homeowner's insurance. He filed the claim, was a legit claim, $30,000. He came out and fixed it. A year later, someone breaks into his front door, opens his garage, and steals an $1,800 bike. He has a $1,000 deductible. I would have told him straight up, don't file that claim. It'll be your first claim. They're going to overlook it. First claim in 5 years, don't worry about it. Your rate might go up a little bit, 5-7%, something like that. But don't think about it. And it was a legit claim. Nothing you could have done. Yeah, that bicycle, $1,800. Got an $800 check, right, for filing that claim. Boy, I feel good with $800. His premium went up $1,700 a year for the next 5 years because it was his second claim. Was that a smart investment? No, he could have bought 5 more bicycles, and I would have told him on that second claim, if it's not $50,000 or $40,000, $30, maybe $20,000, I'm not filing it. But why? Is it affecting your life? It's just, yes, go ahead, file the claim if it makes you feel better. But if it's not a significant amount, I wouldn't do it. Maybe I'm exaggerating with the $20,000, but anything under $5,000 or $6,000, I would not make that claim because it carries with you. I see it all the time when I sell a new homeowner their home, and they're moving in. They've never had a home, and then I try to rate them on the home, and I said, "Ooh, at their apartment they had a water claim. Oh my God! And then what else? Oh my God! And then this house that they're moving into has a pre-existing claim also, but it's not my claim. That's the way insurance works. That address has a claim, and that what caused that claim probably still exists unless you have a agent that goes to bat for you and says that was fixed. We sent in the paperwork. Here's the contractor number. Here's the contractor license. There's the receipt. That claim should not count against this person. There you go. Bingo. You can't get there anywhere else.
So, I know we're getting close to wrapping up here. I got some issues with insurance agencies. I'm just saying, we got to have a real conversation because, I'm in California here. Y'all in California here. Y'all understand, right? My argument with the insurance commission and how they lobby our senators. One of the frustrations that I always had about insurance is, you buy a house You got to have house insurance. You got to have flood insurance. You got to have fire insurance. You got to have earthquake insurance. You got to have car insurance, right? It's like, why we can't have one policy? If you got a policy for your house, and just say your house is $1 million, you got $1 million policy. Why do I have to add fire and flood when if it damages, it should come out of that policy, right? That's one of my issues with California. They insure us for everything, and they charge you. They go up and they impact all your policies. So I just think as community, we got to get involved with the legislative process. But I think the insurance commission as a whole has did a disservice to the residents of California. And that's just my spill on it.
Yes, there are certain things about the insurance industry that sucks. I get it. Just like you don't have to sell a popsicle to someone who walks into your popsicle shop. The insurance company doesn't have to sell you fire insurance in an area that's burning down every damn day. They're going to step out and say, sorry, we don't offer fire here. Because it's just, and not only that, you fools are rebuilding in the same place and not doing new fireproof stuff. It's like, what do you want us to do? We're the insurance company. We want to pay you the claim the first time, but why are you rebuilding, and why are we rebuilding the house the same way? That's between planning and the state and all the things.
But that's what I'm saying. It's a problem.
That's what I'm saying. So
it's because if the state is requiring you to have insurance,
right.
That's why
your position is you guys are building housing areas that we're going to do. Well, how do we fix that problem, right? Either the state says,
that's why the state, created the California Earthquake Authority or California Fair Plan to put those fire policies in. Yes, they're expensive, and more expensive than the average policy, more expensive than the normal farmer's policy, but it's needed. And the more people buy into it, the cheaper it gets. And I'll prove it to you by telling you that earthquake is now at an all-time low. You can buy earthquake insurance finally at, pennies on the dollars when it used to be thousands and thousands of dollars. Why? Because so many people have bought into it, and the more people put money into the pot, the cheaper it gets. And it's run by the state. You might not get the best service, but you're covered for earthquake and you're covered for fire on state fund, and all of the things have gone down.
That was a nice way to say it. I thought they was greedy after the 1989 earthquake and they jacked the prices up.
No, they needed to make their money back. The state needed to make their money back. And they made their money back. So now the California Earthquake Authority and that policy is so much more affordable. You can also get earthquake insurance on your renters, which is literally pennies on the dollar. It's nothing. People are like, earthquake insurance for my apartment? Yeah, it's really cheap. They're like, no way. Yes, it is. It's cheap.
I will speak on this as well, just regarding the different policies and things like that. It's not ideal. It's not. I mean, if you start to research it and how it came about, somebody wrote one contract and they're like, oh, this is not covered. So someone wrote another contract, and then we kind of push it all together. But that's why the biggest thing that I can advocate is that you have to find someone you can trust, that you can help navigate this insurance world. Just like if you catch a case, you're not about to just walk into court by yourself. You're not. You're going to have a public defender. If you're blessed, you're going to have a lawyer, because the law is confusing. Like, that's the whole point. And it is less than ideal. Like, oh, this doesn't cover this, so you need that. That you don't cover this, so you need that. But that's why you need someone that you're comfortable with, where you can tell them the whole story. The whole story. Yes. I have beneficiaries? Yes. Me and my wife has 2 kids, and then I also have a kid in Arizona. Tell them the whole story, because those things are important. That's what I would say. Because it's, until we participate more in the processes to make these laws and these regulations to where they're, more digestible for our community, we have to deal with the game that we got. And we have to
That's what I'm saying. It's our civic duty to get involved with this. This is what I tell community. We got all these branches of government, we got all these policies being made, and this is why it's important to have folks like you to come on here to help educate the community, so that when we electing these elected officials and making sure that they have their best interests and making sure that we involve, is very important stuff. So I'm glad you brought that up, because it's very important stuff that sometimes our community doesn't get, or they don't understand how it impacts them.
That's
I
that's a fact.
I know that my public persona here, and people have seen me before because I had a nationally syndicated TV show, and they've seen how flamboyant I might get. But let's bring it down to the base, at least for me, for 1 second. You as an individual are responsible to be part of your community and to also partake in the economy of the community. One thing that a lot of the Latino brothers and my African American brothers don't do is they don't buy insurance from their Latino or African American brother. That's one. They don't put money back into their own community. If you start putting money back into your own community, you will see that agent or those communities who are building around start coming to you and having your back. It's a cycle. My dad always said that's the reason they made the coin round, so it spins from person to person. Yeah. So you got it. Two, you have to go and advocate for yourself through your leaders. So everyone in my community, my zip code, I think John Henry lives near me. I won't tell you where. Everyone in my zip code, I saw you. I know where you live. So what do I do? Every 4 years, I go out and I held a sign for Asha Safai, and I went door to door, knocking on those things because I believed in my elected officials. I believe in what Asha was doing and the vision he had. And I had two communities. I had my home community where I live and my business community, and that was Hillary Ronan. What did I do? I went out for Hillary Ronan. I put a big 24 by 24 banner on the side of my building, said vote for Hillary, not the other person. You know why? Because anytime something happened in my community, Hillbilly, as I call her, she would come out and she would advocate for me. She stood up strong for me. She showed up for me. And if you go out and you hold that sign for any one of your elected officials, I guarantee you they will return your phone call and talk about the things that your community needs. To ask John Henry, how many times have you held a sign for someone, and when you call them, do they answer your phone call? It's a yes, right?
They do answer your call. Sometimes both sides of the conversation, I gotta leverage it. Sometimes I gotta go to now actually our district supervisor, Shamar Walton, is definitely great at getting back to community folks. But it is some elected officials I have to turn them just a little bit. I gotta call them and leverage my leadership in the community to get them to return my call.
So what I tell everyone is you have to be an advocate in your community. You have to be part of the community. You have to spend in your community. You have to stand up in your community, and you have to volunteer in your community. I'm a youth soccer coach. I have been for 10 years. I'm over at Mini Levy. Anyone who comes to me, I teach them for free. And I tell all the parents, I say, it's not enough for your kids to get A's. Your kids need to play the flute or play something and play a sport. And if they don't have any athletic ability, they better come to me so I can teach them how to stand the right way and play the right way. And sure, this year, I hate to toot my horn, I got 5 kids who would have never, ever sniffed private school. I got them all on full scholarship into private school. Why? Because the coach says that kid can play. And he also has all A's. Well, isn't that a blessing? Now you have some players. But you have to be part of the community. Donate your time. Volunteer. Buy from the little local bodega down the street. Do all the things that matter.
And ask those people in your community and converse with those business owners in your community. Like one of the things that I do, and I'm sure other insurance agents may do this, but they may not. But one of the things, like I said, when I first started, is I'm really big on giving back. I'm really big on the cycle of, moving money through the community, moving knowledge through the community, things like that. But what you'll find, and I know I do this personally, is that anytime someone refers someone to me, I donate to charity. As I told you guys, I'm out in Contra Costa. So every person who comes to me, like so-and-so said, get a quote from you. This month it's Opportunity Junction in Antioch. It's a different not-for-profit every month. But we come with them with a check at the end of the month, just off referrals alone, where it's like, okay, you're going to help me, I'm going to help you, and we're going to help this neighborhood that we live in,
Absolutely. I gave $500 to the Mission Youth Soccer girls. Why? Because they need it. Then I hold special promotions for them. It's like if you get a group, whatever that group is, let's say it's voices of both sides of the conversation. And my particular use, it was the youth soccer group. Any parent who has a kid on that soccer program, any of them, and there's like 800 parents. If you buy insurance from me, I am donating my cut. So I'll make nothing, my entire cut to that youth program. It's no sweat off my brow. You know, it's like,
Yeah.
why? Because I want the youth program to flourish. It helps my community to have a flourishing youth program in the community itself.
Hey, well, we're getting close to the time here. Great presentation. Shout out to the amazing leaders of our communities in San Francisco: Hillary Rowland, Shimon Walton, Asha, Matt Haney. A lot of folks that's doing things to help impact our community. And to the brothers and sisters out there in the East Bay, John Michaels, reach out to them. I know we got our folks that's in the Brentwood, Antioch, Pittsburgh, Contra Costa County area, Richmond, Concord, Walnut Creek. Reach out to this brother, right? Because at the end of the day, community, we always try to bring you all folks who are real, authentic from the community, understand our struggles, understand our differences, but we want to make sure that we also protect our communities. This was a very, very important and powerful educational presentation. I'm glad you all were able to see it. And for you all that'll be replaying it, watching it later, please get this information as we are continuing to try to make sure that our community is educated and are getting the awareness and information that is needed, especially when we're talking about life insurance, okay? One of the most important properties that we need to have in our budget, and making sure that it's a part of our legacy planning and wealth growth for our community. This is very important stuff. John,
last hit for your both sides of the conversation community. I know this is going to be watched again, replayed, checked for truth or fact or whatever, but I will tell you this: anyone who watches this show can call you and say, I'm going to go with Jamie. I'm totally transparent with it. If they're a watcher of this show and they buy insurance from me, I will give you straight up a donation of 10% of the premium. That's out of my pocket. A 10% of the premium will go back to you. So if they buy a $2,000 policy for their home, you will get $200. This is my thanks to both sides of the conversation for leading the conversation and talking to the community about the needs to have a good insurance agent and to keep it in the community. So they, call me, say, hey, I heard you there. Call John. Say, hey, this fool said he would give me. Did he give it to you? It'll all be there. It'll be transparent. And guess what? He's going to call me up. He's going to say, man, I didn't like your quote and you didn't give me that money. And I'm going to tell the world. And then I'm screwed.
Don't worry, community. I will hold Jaime accountable. I will be sending my policies over there. This is a great time. That's why today was perfect.
Because that's right.
All my policies are up. So
even if you don't like the price, now you're gonna take it because you're gonna get 10% back. I see.
Oh yeah, see.
I see you now.
But you all know our motto here at both sides of the conversation. We will always support our Black and brown businesses. That is our mission. That is our motto. We will always support our Black and brown folk. Anybody that's been following us for any length of time, know every dollar that I spend is in the Black and brown community. Just this week, I've put another donation to Ponchoville Restaurant on 16th and Mission to feed all of our kids that's locked up in our YGC system, as long with all of our Omega folks, Pedro, Corey, Jack, because I'm committed. Every dollar, everything that I spend my money on, I'm trying to put it into a Black and brown business. So, Jaime, I will be reaching out to you. Matter of fact, if you can hang on for a second after the show, get my contact information. I'm a man of my word, and I want to make sure that I run my information.
The principal coming. I gotta go to the principal's office, man. Yeah. Why is it always the Mexican in the principal's office?
Don't feel bad, community. I'm going to test what they're talking about. We're going to see if the $13 rental property insurance is there. Now, I'm just giving them a hard time. Again, community, it's not about the cost. You want to make sure that you're connected with the right folks to get the right policy that fits your needs. And again, it's about having the right folks. So that's what it's all about. But with that being said, before I close out, John Michael, Jaime, if there's anything that you want to leave to the community or say it now before I close out tonight's show.
All right, I'll go first. Thank you for having me. Honestly, I truly enjoyed it. I really feel like we're doing very important work for our community. I really do. Feel free to check me out. My Website is right down there. You can definitely get an online quote. My phone number is there. I'm one of those weird people with no work-life balance. So if you were to call me now, I would pick up. I'm one of those weirdos. But I do want to shout out one more time my charitable recommendation program. Like I said, I'll even do it to where I not only will I'm still doing that, but for those of you guys who are watching, I will also do what Jaime said and match the 10% of premium and give it back to both sides of the conversation. Because, like I said, giving back is definitely something that's near and dear to me. Just because I know what that does to a community when that funding and those donations do come in, and I know the difference that it makes. You know what I mean? So that's to the utmost importance for me.
In all seriousness, I really I thank you from the bottom of my heart for having me and John on the program. I know that your honesty and your truthfulness and what you're trying to do is really important for both of our communities. And I don't even think of both of our communities anymore. I think of it as one whole community. The disenfranchised, the stepped on, the people who, we've all been looked at a certain way for whatever reason. So I thank you for this platform. I really do. I thank everyone out there. And if you have any questions, and even if you don't go with us and go with the evil empire, I will give you my 2 cents and tell you the truth about your policy. There's some people out there who really need that extra $2 or $3. It really makes that much of a difference. So I will tell you what to upgrade to, what you need to have based on your life situation. So you don't have to buy from us, but it does help this community because the money does come around. So thank you so much. I greatly appreciate you.
Man, powerful stuff. Thank both of you. This is what it's really about. And, this is what both sides of the conversation is really all about, empowering our community, making sure that our community get the resources and the information. This journey, this walk is not about just us. This is a community platform. That's why I reached out to you. I need you to come here. We need to talk about it. We got these things going on to our community. I am tired of seeing GoFundMes. I am tired of seeing folks on the corner washing cars and selling dinners to bury their loved ones. We have to pass generational wealth. We have to change the paradigm in our community. We have to reinvent the things that we were taught are lost, as they say, in our community. And this is part of it. And we're going to definitely also say, whenever you all want to come back, if there's a new plan that you have, or if there's a new education or training, you all are welcome here. Okay. We serve the Black and brown community. Go ahead, John.
I would love to come back and talk about how to bring this community and create more Black and brown agents, but not just any agents that know what they're doing, because the way they're trained sometimes is they're just trained to sell something, and that's not what needs to be done. So if you want to be a farmer's agent, I'm sure there'll be an episode coming up soon where we can tell you how to be a farmer's agent and how in 3 to 5 years, make $300,000, $400,000 for yourselves. It's a business just like anything else. And you don't go to work not to make money.
No, and that's very important. And yes, you all are welcome. You all have access to our website, Jaime. Whenever you feel like you're ready to do it, you could book on any of those Thursdays to educate our community. This is what this segment is all about: empowering our community through information. And that's what we're going to do. And we're going to keep this thing open for you folks that are watching. If you're in an industry that you think our Black folks need to know about or give them information, this is what this segment's about. Sign up on our Educational Thursday and, come on and do a presentation and educate our community. That's what it's all about. And again, Jaime, thank you for being intentional. See, this is when you're intentional with what you do. We just killed 2 birds with 1 stone. Jaime is representing our Latino community. We have John Michael here representing our African-American community. And again, listen to what Jaime said. It's about having folks like us in these positions to make sure that we get the right things and we're steered in the right way when we deal with our folks. And that's why when folks come on this platform, I always hold them accountable. Because again, me as a leader of the community, I'm walking these people into our community, giving them access. It is my job to make sure that they're vetted, Make sure that they are real. They're about the community. If you couldn't hear Jaime's passion, he talks like us. He looks like us. He's one of us. Support the work that he's doing and uplift, and that's what this is all about. We thank you all for tuning in again. We will not have a Sunday show this Sunday or a Tuesday show next week, but we will have a Thursday and Sunday next week. There are many things that we're going to be doing in the community. We'll be updating community about the redistricting that is going on in San Francisco. There's also redistricting that's going on in Oakland. Be a part of the process. I know that it got off to a late start. Information, community's a little frustrated. Things happen. At the end of the day, we have to still show up in solidarity. Let's make sure that our voices is heard. Let's be present when needed. And let's get through this process. Even if it doesn't go the way we want it, we still have to stick together in solidarity, and we still have to build our communities. As we're going to end this, the violence in our communities, we're going to continue to promote a ceasefire in our community, guns down. Let's get to the talking table community. Our young people out there listening, to the mothers, the fathers, the grandmothers who are watching our folks who might be out participating in some of this violence that is taking place. Take a second. Sit down, remove the social media, and have a conversation with our young folks. We're going to do our part in the community as well, but it takes us all. It might be something that I say that they might catch on to. It might be something that you say that catches on to, but we cannot just throw our hands up and give up. They mean something. They are a value to our community. Sometimes the information, the programming, the culture, the music in this country here, violence is celebrated. We have to change that model. Let's reach out and talk to our young folks. Let's empower them. Let's listen to them. And again, I've talked to several of the community leaders and organizations. This platform is open. We would like to hear from our young folks. I believe they have a voice and they want to say something. And we're going to do that here on this platform to uplift and empower our young folks and let their voices be heard. Because too many times in our community, the elders hold the mic. They talk too long and they never let our young folks voice their opinion. Here at both sides of the conversation, we're going to make sure that our young folks have a space for all you youth groups, youth pastors, all you young folks that are organizing and mobilizing. Please utilize this platform to get your voice out to community because I value young people. I work with young people, and I hear this so much from our young people. The older people in the community, they don't want to listen to us. They don't agree with us. They don't think we know what we're talking about. And again, we're going to uplift that. We're going to make that change and help bridge this gap between our young folks and the elders of our community. Thank you all, community, for tuning in. I know this has been a long educational Thursday presentation, but because we wasn't on the air Tuesday, I wanted to make sure that we get all the information in out to community. We thank you all for continuing to support us. There's a lot of things that is happening. We have some amazing things that are coming up. We have some important folks that are onboarding, helping support our organization move forward. We got an amazing sister that's going to be coming on, co-host to me. So get ready, community. She's a Bay Area popular figure. She's a mogul here in the Bay Area. She's going to be coming on, and she wants to give back and support us. And we're going to be had it. I'm not going to give the announcement cat out the bag yet, but y'all going to be seeing some folks. We got some folks behind the scenes that are helping move this organization forward. As it was said, as you move up, negative things and negative energy try to impact this positive strive. Both sides of the conversation will not go anywhere. We will be here for our people. There will be growth spurts. There will be obstacles that we have to do here at this platform to grow. It takes funding, it takes support, it takes volunteers. There's a lot of moving parts to move what we do, but I promise you one thing, we won't go away. We will continue to build. We will continue to partner with our community folks who are about our folks and our people. And I promise you one thing, change will happen. We will make the noise. We will rally the people. And we will bring that peace, that love, and humility and compassion to the folks that we represent and serve in our community. I hope you're standing with us. And I hope you're moving with us because a change is coming. I don't know when, but I believe change is coming as more and more of our community folks are starting to march together, removing some of the issues, some of the past, healing and moving forward, and we'll be a part of it as we believe here. The healing process begins through communication, and we're going to do our part here to foster that and bring that love to our community. So love you all. Thank you for tuning in tonight. Both sides of the conversation. We'll be here.
We'll be continuing out in the community. I hope to see you all out at the the Gun Violence March this Saturday. I'll be out there. We'll be meeting at the Bayview Opera House at 10 a.m. to 5 a.m. and we'll be marching and we'll be talking to our young folks. So if you have it in your heart, and you want to see this violence in our community end and cease, this is an opportunity you as community to come together, march together, and be together in solidarity as we talk about the issues that impact our community as we move forward. So with that being said, thank you all. Be safe out there. It's been beautiful weather out there in this Bay Area this week, and this weekend it'll be hot. Make sure you have your insurance on your auto vehicle, and make sure you have the things as we heat up. Fire season is approaching. Do your part. Make sure you protect it. Reach out to farmers. You see Jaime, you see John. Get the protection that you need. Be smart. Be smart and do the right things. With that being said, love you all. See you soon. I'll see you Saturday, and we'll be on next Thursday for our next live event. Be easy, everybody, and enjoy your weekend. God bless everybody.